One was the rocket, and it worked beautifully and almost perfectly. And the other thing is the heat shield, because it's coming in hot and fast. It's coming in at 32 times the speed of sound. That's about 25,000 miles an hour. When it hits the atmosphere, it's going to be heating up to 5,000 degrees Fahrenheit. Then the parachutes have to work.
You know, this is so bad, I can't even joke about it.
I've got a secret. Oh no, ain't gonna tell.
Reporter Ann Flaherty joining us from the Pentagon. So, Ann, nukes in space, really?
Yeah, Kira, what we were being told at this hour, two sources confirmed to ABC News that the deliberations on Capitol Hill have to do with nuclear weapons in space.
Imagine if we detonated a nuclear bomb in space. Actually, you don't have to. You can see it for yourself. That was Starfish Prime, the highest altitude nuclear test in history.
Nobody wants to talk about it. It's not something that they feel that they have the authority to make public. And it is alarming. Clearly, we have some people who are very concerned, and that's why you saw on Capitol Hill people calling for calm. But, you know, I think that...
Last month, I sent a letter to the White House requesting a meeting with the president to discuss a serious national security issue that is classified.
On the United States, it's facing a new and serious national security threat.
Reports suggest that it involves a Russian attempt to build a space-based nuclear capability.
The detonation generated a giant fireball and created a burst of energy called an electromagnetic pulse, or EMP, that expanded for over 1,000 kilometers. EMPs can cause a power surge, damaging electronic equipment in the process. And this one was no different.
Key leaders in Congress have gotten a closer look at those classified documents that were found in the possession of former President Donald Trump, President Joe Biden, and also former Vice President Mike Pence. So according to a source familiar with the matter, the leaders known as the Gang of Eight have been reviewing the materials, the first step in determining how Congress will respond to these revelations.
So first, I reached out earlier this week to the Gang of Eight to offer myself up for a personal briefing to the Gang of Eight. And in fact, we scheduled a briefing for the 4 House members of the Gang of Eight tomorrow.
Radiation from the explosion would fry the circuits of hundreds of instruments in low Earth orbit, including communication satellites, military spy satellites, and even science telescopes like the Hubble.
Is electronic surveillance involved, a device could be shut down, and we thereby lose valuable windows into the planning of potential adversaries. And that's what these lawmakers are saying. They're saying we need to understand. These lawmakers, by the way, also approve funding for intelligence programs, pretty crucially, so they want to understand for themselves, again, what could have been harmed, compromised, or eliminated entirely.
You have been working very, very hard, along with many of our CBS colleagues, on this, what has been, since late last week, a breaking story.
Bringing down regional power grids and electronics, like a lightning strike. Millions of Americans will be out of power for hours, or even days. But it's not all doom and gloom.
Turner calls this an urgent matter with regard to destabilizing foreign military capability. Are you aware that there is an emerging serious threat here that he's referring to?
Again, I'll just say that I personally reached out to the Gang of Eight.
Now, let's be clear. This will probably never happen. Super thermonuclear devices like Tsar Bomba no longer exist. And even if they did, the Tsar Bomba weighed around 27,000 kilograms. There are only a couple of operational rockets in the world that can manage to lift something that heavy into space in the first place. So we're probably safe.
The congressional aide stated it was not yet clear if the Russian weapon was nuclear capable, but said that it That is a major fear that they have. The rapidly evolving threat in space was one of the primary reasons that the US Space Force was established in 2019.
The reality here is I've been told that this is intelligence that in some form has been circulated on Capitol Hill in various forms for some time. What has changed, if anything, to get it to the point where it needs to be put front and center in front of lawmakers is unclear. We know that White House National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan has scheduled a Gang of Eight briefing with congressional leadership and the heads of the intelligence committees tomorrow. Mike Johnson saying that this is not something to panic, that this is a problem that has been around for quite some time, and that this is something that doesn't need to be addressed in the immediate.
To assure the American people there is no need for public alarm. We are going to work together to address this matter, as we do all sensitive matters that are classified.
Plus, astronauts on board the International Space Station might be at risk of radiation poisoning.
These are weapons of war. These are weapons that were designed to kill a lot of people quickly.
Thanks a lot for searching that out, man. Appreciate that. Fisherman in the box. Fisherman in a box.
We know now that the next crisis is already waiting for us around the corner.